Hello, and welcome back to another Elevated Marketing Dad podcast, where we simplify complicated digital marketing topics to help your business grow. My name is Jennifer, and I have with me today
Brenna Jackson. Hello.
Always lovely to have you. Today, we are going to talk about why brand positioning is pretty important right now. Not that we can't say a lot of things are, but we're currently experiencing a little bit of a rough patch, and coming across business is not as easy as it has been in some years past. Some would call it a economic downturn, but this is very normal and cyclical, and just want to talk about why positioning your brand during times like this might actually be different than during other times. So before we go there, let's go with our fun and quirky question. So Brenna, if what is the most, or let's just say the best advice that you have ever been given?
I think for me, like on a personal level, like picking my battles, like learn to pick your battles.
Mm-hmm.
And I think overall it just helps like not reacting or having any sort of feelings over trivial things in life, because obviously we all know there's a lot. And so, I mean, just overall just provides more happiness, I think.
Okay, I'm going to choose to pick out somebody particular. Actually, Stephanie Daly gave me this advice, and she might not even realize how it affected me later, but I remember one time I was complaining about how this particular Facebook group was being run, and I was just going on and on. And she looked at me and she's like, "Stop complaining and create your own." And I was like, yeah. Like later, like I look at that and I think, it helps me like in business. Like if you're not happy with how somebody else is doing it, but you're not doing it your own way and creating your own, then shut up. Like,
Yeah.
your opinion is not needed. But I mean, yeah, we all have opinions. But I will always remember that, because it's just like, okay, well, I went and created my own, and here we are.
Love that.
All right. So let's talk about why brand positioning is super important right now. For our listeners that don't know, do you want to give like a 20-foot level, what is brand positioning?
For sure. Think about it as the way you want your audience to perceive who you are as a brand, what you stand for, what you believe in, the value you provide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. That's pretty simple. Yeah, I keep it pretty simple. So, all right. So, my first reason is just going to be because when there is less money to go around, your competition is heightened because there is tightened spending. And so you have to compete more for a limited amount of customer dollars. And so it's really important to make sure that you have a strong brand positioning right now that helps differentiate. And that is the key word, your brand from competitors. Because if you are the same as everybody else and you're just offering what everybody else offers, there's no reason to choose you versus someone else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think about it of like, make their decision making easy by, you know what I mean?
Pulling it out. Why are you different? Yeah, for sure.
It kind of leads into consumer confidence. And I think right now, aligning with what you had touched on earlier with, economic, the current state of that right now, I think consumers they need a lot more trust. And so you
Oh,
really have to earn your audience's trust. And, there's a ton of great ways to do that. I know we've touched on that many times, but, you know, earning their trust, giving them confidence in your brand is very important.
yeah, if they're not confident in your product, service, brand, then either it's going to take longer to make that decision or they're just not going to make the decision at all.
Mm-hmm.
And so, implementing confidence factors into your marketing, whether that be your landing page or your social media or your email marketing or what have you, you've got to put some extra into that. Um, this next one is probably something that I try to do regardless in our company is the perception of value. Still just when money is tight, if you can't showcase to someone why buying your product or service gives you these certain value attributes, then you're gonna lose because everybody is looking either at value, and that might be like value like a good deal, but it also might be value because you can impact a business that is going to help them in other ways, like impact being that like key word there. They have to know the value of spending that money because it's tight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's all about like picking out their pain points and how you solve them.
Yep, for sure.
Another one that I think, you should be doing this all the time is earning and trying to gain loyalty retention,
Hmm.
especially during, maybe a struggling economy. Those loyal customers are going to still be coming back to you. And so engaging with your audience and building that deep connection to build that brand loyalty on their end, it's really going to help you in the end when they are cutting back on expenses.
Well, think of marketing strategies to increase loyalty to your existing clients or customers. How do I get them to come back for more? And then your current clients are your best form of word of mouth. And so if you're like deepening that connection with them, then they're going to be more likely to recommend you to other people. Even think about loyalty programs when it comes to like or not SEO, but e-commerce.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's lots of ways to do that.
For sure.
Price sensitivity. This is a tough one for a lot of people because if there is less revenue coming in, adjusting your pricing up or down is a crucial decision. Sometimes I hear about people that want to increase their price and in order to cover maybe cost that, let's just say, inflation has right now, and that might be good, but it might also limit who can afford you, and that may or may not be a good thing depending on what your goals are. You might have a quantity goal in business or you might have a quality goal in business. But when pricing goes up, you're going to limit your audience. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying it's something to consider.
For sure. And I think that definitely kind of slides right into the next one with holding resilience against price wars.
Yeah.
So on the flip side, there could be competitors who are dropping their prices, attracting those budget conscious customers. And when it comes to brand positioning, I think having that resilience and staying pretty set in place, it's going to show the value of your brand, I think.
Yeah.
I don't want to say the word cheap, but like,
It does. If you
yeah,
attract that type of client, then they are going to be consistently looking for the next offer. And then that's the type of client that you have brought in, somebody that only buys on price and not on value.
yeah. And you don't want to come across as like, well, you get what you pay for. It.
Yeah. It's like what we said earlier, like, you want to have that value perception, but if you just attract people who are buying on price, now you've lost the value perception. So can't
And
have your cake and eat it too.
yep, yep, absolutely.
Okay, so this one, clear communication. Uh, don't go quiet.
Hmm.
When things are uncertain and people are not sure where things are going, like this, more than anything, is a time to increase your communication, increase the amount of emails you send, increase the amount of social media, as long as you have quality. But when you're able to put your brand position out there, ensuring that your messaging is like really focused and resonates with your target needs, and you're constantly communicating how your positioning does align with it's going to make it better.
Hmm. And I think this is, especially with messaging, it's really important to revisit some messaging that works great for you, but especially when, things are changing in the economy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So another one, customer segmentation. So again, when things are changing in the economy, a lot of times what shifts as well is that consumer behavior.
Yeah.
And so you may need to reposition in some ways. Maybe you need to do some more homework, make sure you're still targeting the most relevant customers. Um, and, overall, just making sure your marketing efforts are aligned with who you're talking to, who you're trying to get in front of.
You might speak to one segment of audience one way and another segment of audience a different way. And this all is just, predicated on the fact that you actually are able to segment audiences. You might be at the point you don't have an audience. That is a different thing. All right, emotional connection. So I think this is something, with the position of your brand, that you have to think about regardless of, times of highs and lows in the economies. But when people are in a time of stress and uncertainty, like, tying the emotional connection to your product or service, it's a calming effect. And you'll notice I've been making my voice more calming as I'm going through this. And that's what you're looking for is, how can I make people have that reassurance that I'm here to help them. I'm here to make their marketing better. That's what we're here for, and there's a lot of different ways to do it. But you emotional connection should be involved in your marketing, regardless of where
Mhm.
you're at.
Absolutely. And I think about too, like not turning a blind eye or not acknowledging the state of how some consumers may be feeling right now,
Yeah,
letting them know you understand where they're coming from, you understand the position they may be in.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, a long-term strategy. So we've all got short-term goals. That's a given, but those short-term goals are hopefully leading to a long-term goal. And so, especially in an economic downturn, those short-term goals can kind of help you survive during that, but you should always have that long-term goal that you've got your eye on, you're working toward, and overall positioning your brand for that long-term goal. It's everything
yeah.
we've talked about, I think, up to this point kind of falls under this.
Well, you this is short term. The fact that we are in this, lull of economic times, this happens in economies all the time. This is
Mhm.
normal. And so when you kind of take yourself and you step back and you realize in a longer, let's just say 20-year span, you're going to have a couple of these that happen. And so I think what you're trying to say is just don't make short-term decisions that affect you long-term.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like you gotta think the long game. What is it? The tortoise and the hare. The tortoise, the tortoise wins the race. Slow and steady, consistently. Make sure you understand what your brand is and how you can position it. There might be some little tweaks here and there as far as in a down economy, but you got to think for the long term. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, we have 10 more, and they are on our blog post on this topic. So certainly head over to our website at elevatedmarketing.solutions. Any last minute thoughts on positioning your brand in this market right now, Brenna?
I think just like remaining calm. We're all in it. We're all facing this, and around the prize.
Yep. That reminds me of this quote I recently saw. And, we're all in the same storm, but we don't all have the same boat. Some of us have yachts, some of us have canoes, and some of us have rafts. So be kind. Take your brand and think about it long term on how you want to position yourself. Make some adjustments to weather the storm, but we will all make it through it.
Yep.
All right. Well, that's it for now. Thank you for listening to the Elevated Marketing podcast. If you enjoyed today's show, we'd certainly appreciate if you would leave us a review wherever you are listening. And if you are on YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you'd like to join our newsletter, you can certainly catch that by going to LinkedIn and looking for Jennifer Denny, or you can head over to our website and subscribe there as well. All right, take care.